Hi, I'm Anna.
I'm Ben.
We are AutoSave. Welcome to our channel.
Today we're watching Made in Abyss, Season 2, Episode 12. Today is a bittersweet day. On one hand, we had a great episode, last episode, and we were left off with Faputa trying to find herself what her purpose really is, what
her value.
What value really means. But I'm just over here being sad because I think this is the last piece of media we have from Made in Abyss at the moment. And that's sad.
I really hope that with you saying that it's actually a lie.
Yeah.
But if I trust you in that, obviously neither of us know completely for sure, but if I trust that, I am incredibly saddened by that, and I don't want to have to wait. I really don't want to have to wait, because what that waiting would do would give me that fear that I wouldn't actually get anything else.
That's fair.
There might be more of the manga, but what if they just decide not to adapt it into an anime? What if the manga doesn't even continue past this point and the person didn't write it anymore?
Yeah.
That is incredibly terrifying.
There's a lot of questions and unknowns at this point for us.
And this is a very, has become a very special show. Honestly, from the very beginning, it really, wedged its way into my heart and, made a place there. And I didn't expect it to really do that. I haven't really had a show kind of force its way into my heart so strongly the way that this show has. And I will be incredibly sad.
I can't agree with you more. Episode 1 of the entire series, I have Nat, Rico, Shiggy, Reg, Relic, Star Compass, Fine Truth of the Abyss, Hammer Break Singing, Leader, Crimson Splitjaw, City of the Great Pit, Strung Up Naked, Beltro Academy, City, Orth, 1900 years ago, Southern Sea of Beluska, Diameter 1,000 meters, Depth Unknown.
That's a great summing up. Honestly, we were
Episode 1!
We were so in.
Yeah.
We literally just jumped right into this show, and we were yes, as soon as we started it, and that feeling has never wavered. From the first, and sometimes shows take me 3 episodes to really get into or decide, I feel like this is something that I'm really interested in. I feel like I'm excited about this. I always give shows when I watch on my own or used to watch before the channel 3 episodes to really see if they got me, and I would decide if I was going to continue watching. This didn't even need 3 episodes. Made in Abyss does not need 3 episodes to get someone really, really intrigued, deeply intrigued. And I love it.
It's everything that I love and could want from a series 1 episode in for my own enjoyment, and then the channels as well. Being able to really go into the world and all of these unknowns and try to figure things out before our main characters even do. And I don't know if we've ever had such a big unknown in, our history watching shows on AutoSave that hasn't had a answer, I guess, at the end. The only thing I can think of is Attack on Titan, but we had a lot of answers or questions answered by the time we were done with the source material that was already released.
Yeah, and I think that we had, by that time, a very kind of clear path in our brains of where we thought the ending was going to end up for that series, by the questions that we already had answered.
Yeah.
And by the time that we had spent with those characters, we could kind of theorize how we felt specific personalities would act or feel, and this show has so much lore, and to be reminded so far into this second season, oh yeah, this is just the gateway to the 6th layer. There's so much more here. There's so much left. We are not actually at the finale. We are not at this secret to the abyss. We are not at the bottom. We haven't even found Liza.
I know.
There's so much here. we're on a stop along the way. Ozen was a stop along the way, getting to meet different people. Bondred was a stop along the way, getting to know people. Here we are also in that same situation. These are just people who exist here and live here, and we're getting their lore and how they have come to live in the Abyss and made the Abyss their home. But they aren't the central secret of the Abyss.
Where are they going to leave us off at? I have no idea. I hope they don't...
Does Faputa... is she able to... We want her to be able to adventure on her own. That is something that characters like Bailoff wanted for Faputa. That's why they wanted her to have the memories, these precious memories of her mother, Irayumi. But is that something that she can actually have narratively? Is that something that we can actually imagine as viewers, to have Faputa traveling with Reg, Nanachi, and Riko? Part of me can't see that, because how do we get Faputa past where she was singling out Riko as something that took Reg from her back to, or to a place where she's comfortable hanging out with Riko and there's no jealousy over Riko and Reg's relationship or friendship?
I more so meant, like, as a season finale, you know? I mean, think about where we ended season 1. Like, we were coming right up on Bondrewd. And, like, where do you end season 2?
Do we start, or do we end season 2 with whatever will be the start of the next? Like, is there going to be a nudge of what's going to be happening next at the end of this?
I'm not sure. I am sure that I have about half a page left in my entire notebook for this one episode, and I have a track record of taking up a lot of space per episode, so I don't know how much, you know, info we're gonna get here, but...
Well, if you need to steal my notebook in the middle of
I might.
reacting, then you can. I give permission.
You ready?
Yeah.
Sweet. Oh, it is a long episode.
48?
Okay. I might need your notebook.
Love the gold in the hair.
Adore it. Oh?
Wow.
The control.
What an end to this agitation.
Oh. We heard about those in episode 2.
Fine with being a fool.
Do her duty. Oh! Oh.
Fool. It's what she says about Reg.
Faputa's blood is eating away at them.
Corrosive in the same way as the dragon?
In episode 2 of this season, we learned about the poisonous scales that repelled when it was struck.
I just realized that Iramui is scared of Wazukion.
Yeah?
In the intro. I want to cry.
Yeah, I know. I'm getting kind of emotional.
Oh my gosh. We can't cry yet. Gold.
That's an apt name for the last episode of the season. Flashback? Ah.
She discovered him.
Okay. Those you have destroyed.
She's the one that has destroyed them.
It's like inquisitive by nature, just trying to deduce what is happening. Your power. Did Faputa put it back together?
They're working together.
This is awesome.
Only no anger. Value hunting game.
A mother's words. Purity.
Turns
The
into
stick
a person.
figure. Wow. A novel name. Noble maiden. Immortal one.
I love that he's the one that gave her name and not a name she took from the people she despises.
This brings us back, huh?
Wow.
Huh.
But something is different.
This one's soul.
Nice smelling fluffy one. Yep.
That's so interesting how it comes full circle and makes sense because it's through Faputa's way of thinking.
And she wasn't crossing them out, saying she wanted to like eliminate them.
She was making sense of it, almost like the interference units do.
Kind stone person. She's protecting them! She's nervous.
That makes sense because of what she's been through. Oh.
Wow. Different form.
Okay, Majikaja.
It's like a giant baby carriage.
I know, it's awesome.
Comforting to see them all together. What have we been doing all this time? Waco has gotten out.
Waco's far down. Yes, Reg. Rico's so refreshing.
I can no longer see that far ahead.
In a, like, prophetic nature?
人以上のものになりたかったのさ。それは奈落の住人として慣れ果てること。祝福され力を得ること。
But similar to the white whistles.
Possessing a body that will triumph over the curse. And then they show Reg. Not a single one of those.
培ったしたたかさが果てを目指す好奇心と純粋さが導かれた申し子が混ざりついでいった積み重ねだけだ。
Prushka.
そして道を決めようとしているファプタ。
I have chills.
だから僕がしたいことは今や一つ。どうかあの子を頼むよ。
Look after Fapta.
合わない夢より恐ろしいものが黄金の先で待つ。
Beyond the gold.
夢を叶えて絶望しておくれ。
あなたの言う通りになんかならないよ。
いいね。
リコ、悪いな。
Wow.
わちらは行かなきゃなんね。わちらを滅ぼすとまで言った声で、今はただ純粋に呼んでん
Genuinely
だ。
summoning us.
それに、わちらも大穴に挑んだアホなんだ。どう終わるかはてめえで選
I'll
ぶさ。
choose for myself how it ends.
Okay, Mugi.
行こう。だよな。もはやどこにいたって危ね。
It's no longer safe no matter where we are.
ボスと一緒にいたはずのブエコがいないって。
But is missing.
そういえば入れ違いになったか。
Hmm.
追いかけよう。足遅いから多分追いつける。
Are we bringing Ma?
揺れるとこで見るとようで。
これお母さんの封書の
Oh?
あの人が売ってた。
Sick!
ありがとうムーギーさん。マジカシャさん。
コンボス。
ハーリー、
She's no longer crying.
これも積み重ねなる。
マーさん、本当に私と一緒でよかったの。マーさん、私を選んでくれてありがとう。みんな、行こう。
Oh. Oh. Fuego?
Fuego. Fell far, kid.
どうして向かってい
Why
る
am I headed there?
何をそんなに気にかける。あの子が自分のなんだというのだ。あの子はきっと決断してきたのだ。私よりも小さくて私よりもできることが少ないのに自ら決断し差し伸べてきたのだろう。冒険の手をあの子たちに、あの子にも、あの子にも。何一つ決断できなかった自分にさえも。あったな。
There was
自分で決めたこと。
one thing I decided on my own.
Oh my god.
The curse of the great
大穴
pit.
の呪いだ。慣れ果てたってことは自分。
She'd only not turned because she was being protected.
It's still
She'd
been
still
human.
been human.
イルミュイ、ごめんね。
Fuck.
6歳 その呪い、人間性の喪失。パッコや無駄にしねえぞ。
Won't let it be in vain.
急ぐぞ。道はオイラが教える。
Where do you go?
ことじゃねえんだ。
It's person.
必ず連れてってやる。
And she has Balof's wishes.
Are you just trying to get to Faputa?
Maybe.
命に近いとこ咲いたはず。お前不滅でもないのに生まれながらのサガか。
Jesus. That sound design of jumping.
君が呼んだ者たちが待っている。くそ、不甲斐なくて腹が立つ。言ってみたものの、あのでかいのが2種。
Two of these huge ones.
Irredeemable.
リコ、負担をかける。おい。私たちだってやるときはやるのよ。
Come on, Frushka. God, it's so cool. What effect does it have?
Don't let it be in vain.
ありがとう、リコ。行くぞ。お前ら。
It's almost like a skull in the light on his helmet. Oh!
こっちに。よく集まった愚か者だ。パプタは母の体に残された価値を知るための価値はお前たちに眠る。
Rest inside of you.
パプタは今の母を知る。母に残された価値のすべてをパプタは奪う。
そのつもりで来たんさ、お姫様。わちらの代わりに
I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. God, Reg's such a badass.
猛獣どもはこれを渡ってきたのか。ワズキャンめ。
What the fuck, Wazukion?
補強している。ダメだ。ならば。
Whoa!
We're gonna just shred it? Cool. Yes.
Holy shit, Reg!
How does she devour Majikaja? He's just gas. This is like hurting her too.
自分が許せなかった。あなたの子供を食べて生き続けたことが、あなたと一緒に死ねなかったことが、自分を許さないことで、あなた
Trying
と
to keep my connection by not forgiving myself.
声にならない声。私は
What is this
誰
song?
にも言えなかった。あなたが本当に欲しかったのは子供だけじゃなかったこと。もはやできること、あなたを忘れまいとすることだけ。私は私を許せなかった。あなたの望みはあの子が継いだ。あなたの中に残ったものが今なくなろうとしている。
The kitchen.
Balof's
Balof.
mask.
ヒルミュイ、私を人のままにしてくれてありがとう。あなたを先に見とるという最も重い罰を受けることができた。大好きだよ。私だけの温かい闇。やりおせた。
Oh.
No!
力が
We have to rescue her.
そいつとは役目が終わった後だ。役目を手伝いに来た外の者にファプタは敬意を払うそす。そいつらを母の外へ逃がす。
Wow.
まあというのがあったのか。頼んだそす。あいつらも食っておけば力を残せたそすか。
Oh gosh. Reg.
Jesus.
まさに
stuffy?
作りかけ代わりになんか
She was making Ma stuffy?
マジかじゃ大丈夫か
全部の足壊れた到底許されないけど役目のためだから
マジかじゃ
The gas. Feeding himself to Fapita.
It should give her strength, right?
最後だけかじゃ最後だけだからマジかじゃなのか
What?
He took on a vessel.
Did the stuffed animal look like Menya to you?
マーさんありがとうマーさんマーさん
Fighting each other? Where is Ma?
Did Ma give herself to Faputa?
互いに生きていたとはみんな消えちまったけどよ、永遠のゆりかごからアビスへ帰っていたオイラたちと同じ道に帰っていた
Return to the
Same
same
path
path
we're
we're
on.
on.
みんなが助けてくれたこと覚えてるオイラもだ教えてほしいそうぜパプタの知らぬ母のことイルミュイパプタはそんなに母に似てるそうすか似てないかもイルはすごく甘えん坊ですごく人見知りでそれですべすべで似てるとても温かくてそして何をしても二度と帰ってこないのそうかお前がいたのだな
She had you there
For
for
her.
her.
お前がいたのだなよかったファプタは母のすべてはだがウエロエルコという記憶だけは
Because it
パ
was
プタの
hers.
どこにもなかった
She's human.
母は誰であってもお前だけは渡したくなかった
嘘でも黄金に変えてくれるんだ
Even
って
Jo- Fuego's the gold.
遠く遠くまで来たのに今さら思い出すなんてイルミュイナンソス暗い目をしてるって言われてあなたが見えたあなたが見つけてくれたのあなたが変えてくれた母のもの
She's
パ
not
プタ
gonna
の
eat
も
her.
のではないそしてどうしてこんな気分になるのすな奴ら傷ついた村の匂いに引きつけられた
And a barrier.
墓を奴らは死んだらこうする言ってたそうさまあにまそうそうそうそう
Gravestone, a marker.
なそうそう
Great sound design. Did you hear that?
She's carving on it like Haku or something.
寂しくないそうさ旅魂が巡るまでガブが言ってたそうさファプタ僕たちと一緒に来てくれ
It
ない
was
だろう
Reg this time.
It should have been Reg saying it to her. That's who it should have
ラ
been.
プタのことまるっきり忘れてた。思い出せないレゴとソス。
それはそのすまない。未だに思い出せなくて不甲斐ない。
関係ないじゃないソスか。
違う。君のそんな姿を見ているのか。僕は見た。悲しさも美しさも僕は見た。君と出会ってしまったんだ。君と一緒に冒険に行きたい。
ソスか。愚か者。
Gathering of fools.
やっぱそう思う。役目だったソス。出会った者たちを手前の役目なのだと石の者が言っている。
トルシカの声聞こえるの。
喧嘩はダメだよソスか。
Oh.
こんなすべて忘れても優しいままなのはお前たちゆえなの。ラプタはもう行くソス。触れて集めるソス。
Like Gabu?
くれないの。
考えておくソス。
ぜひ考えておいてくれ。やめろ。
あいつふわふわだと見境ねえのか。
二度とは戻らない望郷の彼方。闇の中に誰にも見つけられなかった光は、それを手にするのは誰でもない。得た黄金は価値というくびきから解き放っ旅立とうとしている。愛こそが呪いだと知っているのに、
Love itself is a curse.
闇しかないと知っているのに、だからだろう。だから欲しいのだ。
ファッツィサンブレムソス。
I don't want to see you later. I want to see you like tomorrow.
I legitimately don't think that there's an after credit or anything. I want to sit
Rude.
here just in case, but
We're gonna sit here. You know, I thought to myself to like, oh, maybe we should have like a pack of tissues on the desk because it's a finale episode, and Made in Abyss can very easily make me cry. But I didn't end up bringing tissues.
I feel like I'm mourning something. Okay, that was Made in Abyss, Season 2, Episode 12.
Just gonna go ahead and apologize in advance for any sniffling. Great on cue.
I'm sorry.
Right there, we're apologizing in advance for that because this is a very emotional and sensitive time for us, and we are very vulnerable at the moment, and it's hard to compose yourself and stop yourself from sniffling when you were just really being put through it emotionally.
You know what?
I just closed my book up. I don't even know why I'm doing that. I need to go back. Oh my god. Okay.
There were a couple times that we felt like 2 times right off the bat watching the show that we felt like we were at a loss for words after the episode.
Oh, is this one of those times?
Obviously, like Bondrude was a big one, and that was a movie, you know.
That messed with me. That movie messed with me so hard. I think it messed with me more than the ending of this messed with me, because there's something more positive with this introduction and this kind of story ending for Fapita than there was with Prushka. Like, obviously Prushka's still able to adventure with us, but in a less positive way than Fapita's life is left, you know, by the end of this. So
the other time was Mitty, and the ending of the episode where she was, you know, blown away. But I think that this hurts differently and more for different reasons. Like, during that, it was all narrative. Now it's like narrative, but like a lot of just my own feelings of not wanting this to be the end of what we've watched in Made in Abyss. I don't know if it's very difficult genuinely to separate us recording videos and watching shows on the channel from our personal life. We live together, we're engaged, we spend every day together, and this is one of the things that we do together every day. We watch shows together, and it's not only like, you know, like I spent a lot of time watching Blind Wave before we had a channel, and I'll never know what it feels like to be a part of them, but they're doing it with friends most of the time, right? And I don't know if that's why it feels a little more emotional to me in this sense, because it's like a journey that you and I, like as you know, a relationship are also on, and we talk about this show and other shows, but a lot about this show off camera. So it's really like sad to think about it not to not record a video of Made in Abyss next week.
I feel like my sadness over this episode and how I felt during it wasn't as much. I would say obviously a great portion of sadness was reactive to what I was seeing on the screen, but another great portion of that sadness was, oh my god, I don't want to be leaving this world when these 48 minutes are up. Like I don't want there to not be some, and that was a little part of me in my head that I couldn't necessarily like completely kick out. That thought that's like, oh my god, this is your last thing of Made in Abyss, possibly for a little bit or a while, who knows.
We need to know. I think that we need to have like a mod or someone to help us figure out what is next. I feel like I need closure or like to look forward to something.
I think that if I don't know any answer in terms of like, is it still being written and it hasn't been cleared, like, oh, 2024 next season, like that's fine. I don't need like a date or time. I just need something so that I know how to feel or what to be looking forward to, or to at least know that there is content out there.
Literally the only thing we know is that apparently season 2 episode 2 premiered 9/28/2022.
Oh, stop. I didn't even read the year. Oh, okay.
So that's over a year ago.
Hope. That's a lot of hope, though.
You think?
I think so.
I hope so.
There's so much love that goes. When did season 1 come out? When did the movie come out?
I don't know.
Like, there's so much love in it. I wouldn't be surprised if it was an endeavor that took a while.
Season 1 came out in 2017.
Okay.
Let's see. The movie with Bondrewd was movie 3, I guess. Yeah, that's right. And that came out in 2020.
So maybe 2024? Hopefully.
Yeah.
Possibly. We're luckily closer to that than the people who watched Made in Abyss season 2 when it came out.
You know what?
So,
that's very true.
We have had a good track record in terms of the things that we've watched on the channel, and when a new season has come out for it, we've been really, really blessed in terms of not having to wait a crazy amount of time for more content of shows that we really like. I think the longest we've had to wait was like for Attack on Titan finale, but still we were in it a lot closer of a, not as big a gap as all the original fans who had to wait a very long time for things. So fingers crossed there, but that emotion was really hard to kick out of my mind during that final episode. That like, oh my god, I don't want to be done with this. I want there to be 7 seasons. I want so much more content. It doesn't even have to be obviously, it doesn't have to be main storyline at all. It's just Riko and Reg and Nanachi going on adventures and making friends. What we have here is we have this location, this vast location filled with so many different creatures and secrets and so many lives that have gone down there to explore, so many people with dreams, so many ways to be cursed. I
think it's Riko's person that leads us to like in so many other stories and works of fiction that have so much deep lore of like time or an area of mystery, there are often times that we only see the main character in that world, or we get to just know about that world. But because of the character and person that Rico is, those two things are intertwined.
Right. So if Rico was not the personality and the character that she is from day one, there wouldn't be as much creative room here for what could be fulfilling to a viewer or a reader in another season.
Yeah.
We don't need Liza right now.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need the finish line because Rico has been created to be the character that just wants to know everything. She's everything. She can explore and learn, and she takes everything in as valuable to her, and she's excited about it, and therefore we are excited. I feel like there are a lot of times where I've watched something and it derails from the main narrative, and I'm kind of like, oh yeah, that was fun, I guess. Like, I like these characters, but like the main narrative is why I'm here. That is not why we're here.
Yeah.
We're here with Rico to explore the abyss. That is why we're here. And whatever she wants to do and wherever she wants to go, I want to watch.
Yep.
That is the main narrative, is Rico exploring. Like, that is what I want as a viewer. And you can keep me waiting for the answers that I seek. I want to be kept waiting as long as possible.
I'm with you.
Because I want to continue looking in every single freaking crevice that the abyss has to offer.
This show is so incredibly unique, like in some very hard to watch ways sometimes, whether it's just gruesome, horrific depictions of
stuff.
Bloody, injuries, or uncomfortableness in terms of like nudity or sexual content, and with that all included into the scope of uniqueness that the show brings, it is so fucking special. Like what it's managed to, what it's able to convey and tell as a story, and the language that's used is so different than anything I've ever watched. And in terms of score, this is in my, I think, top 3 of anything we've watched in the channel, easily, with the music that they were able to create and produce and attach to this series. It is, I will never forget that about this. I will never.
I have a very personal compliment for this show. I've said it before in certain other shows that we've watched if it, came up. But before we started the channel, ever since I was like a teenager, I had just bad anxiety, and with that I couldn't watch shows, especially live action, that had anything that would make me uncomfortable, secondhand embarrassment, graphicness, people angry with each other, and so I really just only watched slice of life and very soft romance anime, and cooking shows, and that's it.
Death Note seemed like a big deal for you at the time.
When we started the channel, there was that oh, okay, this is a little bit of pushing myself into territory to be watching things that I've kind of been avoiding because I get a little too empathetic and I feel a little too strongly when I'm watching things. And I don't know, I didn't want to be watching things that I was going to take on these feelings. And then when I walked away from the TV screen, I was still going to be feeling those feelings and I couldn't walk away from them.
Mm-hmm.
But Made in Abyss, obviously I've gotten a lot better with that. I've been really getting into so much. I've been seeing all of these shows that I had been avoiding because they weren't soft. I have been so thoroughly enjoying and wow, I can't believe I didn't watch this. I know in theory why I didn't at the time, but I was missing out.
Yeah.
And Made in Abyss is one of those shows that it's able to balance this sometimes uncomfortable, sometimes graphic and violent, but I don't leave the room holding on to those things.
No.
I don't leave the room feeling uncomfortable or gross or scared or weirded out. I walk out of the room feeling oh my god, I love Made in Abyss. This world is so deep and I love the main characters and I want to go back. And I just have to say my appreciation for this show, specifically with that there's a great balance of being able to give a complex story with a lot of different things happening and themes that are more mature, but still having the viewer able to feel comfortable existing here and learning more about it and not too scared to adventure forward. This isn't a horror movie. This isn't a horror story. I'm not supposed to feel like I don't want to open the door. I want to open the door.
Yeah. Wow. I can honestly say I don't think I'd ever heard of Made in Abyss in my entire life before we got recommended it for the channel.
I didn't, but I don't know if that's because I was only watching Slice of Life and Romance or what.
I really appreciate every single person who suggested this to us. This is going... I'm talking about it like it's ending because that's the feeling I...
That's just the feeling.
It feels like the last episode of Mob Psycho to me. That's like the body feeling I have right now. And but
with that you had closure of the ending of the story.
I know, but it's just more like in the sense of feeling like appreciation for what this is and appreciation for the people who thought we would like it and enjoy it. And it feels like they know us. It feels like they knew that it wasn't just like it's the lore, it's the world, it's the storytelling, it's the music. It's so special, and I think that just goes to show what of a great product it is, right? What of a great work it is that it's able to elicit so many emotions. But this is the kind of thing that makes an anime better than a manga to me. If I read Made in Abyss, I would not have felt... I think I would have adored it, but I don't think I would have adored it to the level that the anime has made me love it. I think that everything has been great. The voice acting, the animation, the one music, of the best scores I have ever listened to.
Keep saying it.
They had a great song in English in this episode towards the end with Faputa. I need to just listen to everything again.
I mean, music is a way to really keep hold of certain emotions and help with the immersion, and it does it great for this series. I'm very, very... honestly, I would love to hear other recommendations of, people that love Made in Abyss. What else do you love? Like, what else is out there?
We're gonna start Freyrin. I don't even know how that's pronounced or what it's about soon, but I feel like we ask for like, okay, what do you think we'd like? What do you think would be entertaining for us to watch, right? I wish we had like categorical, like fans of Made in Abyss enjoyers, appreciators. What's next? You know what I mean? Like, I wish we had that for different like staff picks in like a store, like what's next. Like, it doesn't need to be at all the same, but there's certain types of emotions that something elicits that I think you could find similar bridges to.
I think that a Made in Abyss appreciator is probably someone who really loves when there's a lot of lore. Or I'm maybe just talking about myself and projecting when I say that.
I've never met anybody in my entire life who has seen this show before. Ever. I've never talked to anybody who has seen the show.
What does a Made in Abyss fan look like? We don't know. To us, I guess.
Yeah. And you know what else I really fucking appreciate? Man, I probably said this at the time, but I can't remember, so I'm gonna say it again. But for being somebody who is very into like the Dragon Ball universe or like things of akin to that, there are movies that are non-canon, and there are movies that they put out and then in the series, like they did with Demon Slayer, even they retell it through the series, right? I am so glad that they had the wisdom and freedom to make a movie for what was Bondrewd. I cannot imagine that would have been... I don't think that there could have been a better way to tell that story. I think that if you incorporate that into an episodic nature, it doesn't do it justice.
No, I agree. I don't think I could have seen it being so heavily attached to season 1 either.
Yep.
I think that season 1 just felt like it wrapped up nicely where it's like you knew the direction that things were going next.
Yep.
And we had lore about Nanachi and about Bondrewd, and we had an idea.
It's like we were about to step into a coliseum, and we were like, okay, what's it gonna be like?
Right. I'm really glad that it was given a movie. I agree that episodically, kind of walking away from that arc or what was happening there, and then going back into it for another 20 minutes. I don't think that would have done what was happening emotionally with Prushka, or emotionally with Midi, emotionally with like learning Nanachi's past, emotionally with like our weird learnings of Bondrewd and understanding him. Having everything just be accumulated together into one narrative is appreciated.
And I think in the same sense, this season needed to be a season. I don't think this could have been a movie. I think that it was perfect as 12 episodes, and I don't know how you would have dismounted the Bondrewd stuff in a season to let this season happen either. I think that, like, hell, I fell in love with watching this show for the lore, but that's not why I stayed. The entire second season here, to go the direction that they did, was something I could have never guessed. But it shows me that there is so many more stories to tell within the Abyss that aren't just what's at the bottom and what is Liza up to. And it shows that there's so much more for Riko and Reg and Nanachi as characters to experience. One of the best moments of this episode, because we've barely even talked about it, is it seemed like Reg just stepped forward when Riko was about to say something to Faputa. And that's fucking growth, man. Like, that's
no
growth.
There.
I love it.
He says he's spineless, but then he steps forward and is the one that offers journeying together to Faputa.
I hate Mom.
Does not. Why?
Part of me is playing it because I know you love Ma and it's a funny thing, but part of me just I hate Ma. I was like, okay, that's awesome, and I cried that Riko made Ma the stuffed animal. And then when Ma was gone, I was like, okay.
Okay, so on like actual happenings and talking about the actual episode, I don't think that Ma fed themselves to... I think what happened was similar to what happened to Pakoyan, which is the disappearing from being out
probably
of inside Iramui and inside the village. Because it seems much more like Riko didn't even notice that Ma's presence had like gotten up and left. It's more... That gives me the idea that Ma just kind of slowly disappeared in the same way that we saw Pakuyan.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Or, since we didn't see it on screen, Ma is somewhere to be found. Ma's the true villain.
Ma was like, bye guys. No, not a true villain. Just decided to go adventure by themselves.
Ma's like a white whistle in disguise. You know? I don't trust Ma. Still.
I was hoping to get some backstory with Ma. I was hoping to get something in the same way that Riko was able to have that connection with Midi and feel like she could understand what Midi was saying to her even though she was unconscious and sleeping, and that eye connection thing that was like creepy but very endearing at the same time. I was like, we're gonna learn about Ma through Riko, and it's gonna be great. And then I didn't get to learn anything about Ma. We even just get this little like, oh, and you nameless Hollow, and then Ma's like, Ma, and then Faputa's like, oh, okay, your name's Ma. Yeah. That's it.
Well, it kind
Give me more.
It kind of paralleled the idea of Faputa not having a name and was given a name, you know.
And it's just funny. Unfortunately.
Well, I don't know. Like you can say something's good, but that doesn't mean you should look for depth in it. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm just trying to.
I have to
roast Ma a little bit.
I have to look for the depth and the backstory because who are all these people
No, you're
that are
right.
down here as hollows? They all adventured here for some reason over the last 150 years.
You're right. I'm just messing around.
Like, but think about what we just witnessed here. All of those villagers with all of their different adventures and stories over the last 150 years are now all gone. And I'm like, so much material, so much story, so much past, so much personality.
I think just some Ma appreciation. I think Ma's vision and view of value to Ma was something really enjoyable this season. Like, throughout that entire awful interaction with Menya, but then the fucking creepy alleyway scene leading into just Ma's protection and value of what Rico is to Ma. And it's almost like there was something that exceeded that inherent nature that the city brought.
So I really like where you're going with this because I think it reminds me of what you get. I think it possibly parallels Vueko and Iriyumi in terms of like Vueko never wanted to use Iriyumi that way. Never wanted to and was like so upset that she had done that to Iriyumi and hadn't made decisions. Ma doesn't desire or see value in Rico the same way that Majikaja did when Majikaja first met Rico, where he was like, oh, a human child, that's a lot of value. I'll pay you this much for like, this portion,
Yeah.
The hair on Rico was valuable and could be used as currency. Ma finds value in being chosen by Rico, in Rico desiring to be close to Ma, in Ma getting to be close to Rico, in Ma getting to protect Rico because Rico is precious. Ma's not like, oh, I want to be close to Rico because parts of Rico are valuable or I could utilize Rico for value.
Yeah.
Like Rico being alive and being Rico and getting to be with her is the value. And I think that is a nice little possible parallel to like Vueko and Iriyumi.
I agree with that. Do you remember actually, just the entire scene, because I accidentally brought it up, of Vueko acknowledging Rico and everything that Rico's done for herself and decisions that she's made and how they've affected other people, and then that realization turning into the one thing that she had chosen with the flashback to go bookend with the first episode. That killed me. I was crying. That was beautiful. It was so well done, man. I'm trying to find where we were given the page of
the page of Liza's shoot.
I want to say it was
right before we decided to go back to Faputa. Was it pretty early on in the episode? Yes, it was.
Yes, okay. This is from my mother's envelope that one of the villagers was selling. I don't think that we get any type of good look at it, truthfully.
No, we don't open it up, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But we have to, come on, how can we not, as viewers of this, of Maiden Abyss, think that whatever is on that page is going to have significance or be mentioned in whatever content is coming in the future.
Yeah.
We can't just be gifted this valuable item of the research of Liza and the handwritten notes of Liza and whatever be on those pages not be something that we come across and thank goodness we were gifted this because now we have this knowledge.
And it's
or
also
Liza has seen this, she's been here.
One of the great ways to do it too is that it's bridging the end of this arc with what's yet to come because of who gave it to us. Like it's not just, oh, we found a piece of paper on the ground, which is a next clue. It's that Mugi gave it to us after trading a piece of Faputa. It bridges arcs with instilling a connection that's emotional to who gave it to us.
Mm-hmm. And it brings Liza back into the story in the last episode.
Yeah.
So this episode kind of had to work a lot of different directions. which it didn't even feel like that. It didn't feel like they were in 48 minutes trying to bookend a bunch of different things or re-bring up a bunch of different things so that it felt like things were being closed and that there was closure, but themes that are throughout the series are being re-brought up. No, but we really get that. We get glimpses into what was happening with Faputa actually at the beginning of this season in terms of sneaking in and not saying hi to Reg and drawing on the paper.
That was so fucking awesome. That was so well done.
And then we get, obviously, shown glimpses back to the first episode and the other group of people.
Yeah.
We re-bring up that all of these people that are here, all of these hollows, they all got here through adventuring, and they honestly don't really understand why they stopped.
Yeah.
And then that chapter is closed. We get Vueko having a good ending and a good goodbye. Iramui has a goodbye in a closed chapter. Liza's re-brought up.
Just to appreciate that, though, like, what does that do for Faputa as a character for us? How do you feel now after being able to see the relationship with Gabu, knowing that Faputa would destroy other units, and then found something soothing about Gabu that would lead Faputa to the interaction even with Riko, Reg, and Nanachi, the interpretation of what they are to Reg after learning they had a connection, the paper and writing on what we initially took as like a threat almost. Like, doesn't that complete Faputa for you? Like, it really does.
What she sees with Gabu is that if you truly love something and you care about something that's special, you will sacrifice everything for that thing of value. And we know that there are characters throughout this episode that are sacrificing or regretting that they didn't sacrifice more to protect what was special to them.
Yeah.
And we get that flashback of them meeting, and we get shown Gabaroon's helmet again, but now demolished, basically. And Faputa, from that moment on in the episode, there's a lot more of a carefulness and a respect, a mutual respect that's given. Like, yes, I summoned you and I will devour you now, but I am going to appreciate the sacrifice that you're giving me here.
Yeah.
And in my duty, because you are going to be helping me fulfill my duty here. And so there's a new layer of complex thought that is now happening in Faputa, and it makes so much more sense.
That fire.
When we see how she, so quick to learn, is this idea that we get from that flashback and that we had gotten a few episodes ago, that she learns very quickly.
Yep.
And what we see, especially with Gabu and his actions in this fight, was that she's seeing firsthand an example of someone sacrificing, and she's understanding it because that's a personal connection for her.
Yep.
It's personal to her, and so this weight of that sacrifice that person that she cares about, that interference unit that she cares about, she's now learning how special it is to love something enough that you would sacrifice a part of yourself.
Yep.
And she's appreciative of sacrifices. She's appreciative of what people will offer of themselves to someone else.
I think I got a little better of appreciation and knowledge for like what Riko's willing to go through for everything. I loved her pushing herself to use Prushka again, like seeing afterwards what it did to her. Shout out Pakuyan, I believe their name was. Amazing character. The thing that killed me more than anything this episode and had me like weeping was not only the fact that Vueko had been human, but the acknowledgement to Vueko from Faputa and saying that she kept you there for her. That absolutely destroyed me. That Iramui kept her there for her. And it was almost like complete closure for Vueko, because it's that, like, they're able to see, you know?
One of my favorite lines from Vueko is that she kept the connection with Iramui by not forgiving herself. That is the only way she could feel like she could still be connected to Irumyuui, was to continuously be hard on herself and subject herself to whatever duty or purpose she decided she needed to do or be in order to try forever, for eternity, to make up for something that could never be made up for.
Depending on when I'm gonna say when, because it's gonna happen. Whenever we get another movie or season 3, if it's not, unless it's like, I don't know, within the next 4 to 6 months, I am 1,000% going to watch and rewatch every piece of Made in Abyss content we've gotten before starting then.
Oh, 100%. I don't want to go in it forgetting anything.
There are a lot of shows that I believe, like, that we decided when we were starting the channel, that if there was a break during a season, that we would be doing it a massive disservice to not only the show itself, but ourselves and how we talk about it and our enjoyment of it, if we don't refresh ourselves with every aspect of it so that we can pick up emotionally exactly where we left off. And I think that this is one of the biggest examples of that. I not in a million years would I not do my best to get to exactly where I am before I watch any Made in Abyss content.
I completely agree. I mean, I think about shows like the first one on the top of my head is Mushoku Tensei.
Yeah.
In the second season, the first season is so heavily referenced in the first episode in ways that are, a lot of it, subtle and nuanced, and will, as long as you retained season 1, you'll be like, oh, yeah. Do you see what they just did there?
Yeah.
Even that line that they just said is almost in reference to this arc or part of season 1. And there's a lot of shows that do that. There's a lot of shows. I mean, come on, you're writing a story that's long and full. You're gonna be referencing things. And if the viewer or the reader isn't retaining it, it's not going to be as enjoyable, because you're not going to be seeing all those Easter eggs. You're not going to be getting all those references. You're not going to be seeing the depth for yourself that went into the writing. It's almost like a disservice to the person that wrote it. Because
if you wrote a light novel, if you wrote a work of fiction, would you give it to me and expect me to read half of it, put it down, come back to the second half a year later, and and just go from there? That is a disservice to the work. I think it is, and I don't. I'm also a little nervously excited to ever rewatch this show, but
there's certain things I definitely would want to rewatch for like refreshing for Made in Abyss, like things that I think that because they were longer in terms of content in one go, like 20-minute episodes, it's easy for us to digest, and then we discuss it for 45 minutes afterwards. Therefore, we're kind of solidifying and locking in that we understood what happened. But when we had the movie and now we have a 48-minute episode, it is a lot harder to be able to like regurgitate all of what we just witnessed and articulate it and talk about it now, think about it now, even remember what it was now coming out of it. And so I feel like specifically those two parts of Made in Abyss are definitely things that I would want to rewatch for making sure I retain everything that it gave me.
I think I agree with that, because it's two different sides of it. There's the retaining information and make sure you don't forget things. But what like really stands out to me, because that's insanely important, and I liked your episode of Mushoku Tensei that you brought up, because that was a really good example of it. But I think it's really important to get back to the emotional side of things. Like, it's this investment that you have in something that is almost guaranteed to have been taken away a bit, unless if you had waited years in between watching it. I think that truthfully that's it. Like if you have 4 seasons of content in front of you to watch, and you watch it one week after another, it is going to make a presence in your mind more so than if you watch one season, wait a couple of years, don't refresh, watch another, you know?
Like one moment I can think of from this season that I feel like if you had maybe years in between season 1 and the movie before this, and you weren't like refreshing in terms of what the emotional side of things, Nanachi leaving Balof's with Mitty, I don't know how much that would have hit. I think it still would have, because I think that it's very clear that if you were a fan of this show, then the Mitty and Nanachi relationship and what was there in terms of history is very easy to get back into, I would think. But that's definitely a moment where all of that emotion that was given to us from truly understanding what actually went down in terms of the creation of Nanachi as a hollow.
Yeah.
To have been really far removed from that.
Nanachi's my favorite. I was about to say Nanachi's my favorite character. Fucking Rico's my favorite character. Fucking Reg's my favorite. I love the characters in the show. And you know what's crazy about that though? I don't love Nanachi in like a superficial way, in that, oh, this is a side character who I'm obsessed with and wish they got more screen time. They managed to make Nanachi a main fucking character who I absolutely adore when she didn't start the show with our main group. That's incredible to me. That is insane that they've managed. I don't know, when was the last time I've seen a show that has done that? Like, you know, like, okay, you have a character that that is a genuine main character who I absolutely adore, didn't start in the first 3 episodes with us.
Yes, I don't normally see that, but what you also don't normally see, because sometimes when a character chooses to journey or come with your main character, there isn't that much reason why they're doing so. It's kind of just like happenstance. Yep. But with Nanachi, and then if Faputa had ended up saying yes here at the end, it would have been the same, that they were released from what they were previously, either the duty that they either had chosen for themselves or felt like had been put on them by someone else's, something horrible that had happened to someone that they loved.
Yep.
And they, by the end of the season, were released from those shackles that were keeping them in that duty that wasn't servicing their hearts. It wasn't servicing who they are as people or creatures. It wasn't what they wanted. It was something they felt like they had to do. Mm-hmm. It was a duty that they put on themselves, and they would never have forgiven themselves unless they could be released from it by the person that they were doing it for or by someone else. And that is why they are able to, and we are able to accept it so happily, be given the choice to come with an adventure. And it doesn't just feel like, okay, we unlocked Nanachi and now she's coming with. It feels like, oh my gosh, this person has just been relieved of this weight that they had on them. And they now can go back to figuring out themselves and what they want and what they want to do. And we know from Nanachi's past that she did want to come to the Abyss. She did want to travel and explore it with friends. She wanted to make connection, mm-hmm. and she wanted to explore the Abyss with people that she is connected to. And she was released from her shackles and able to do that. And Faputa wants to learn about herself. She wants to learn what value she has outside of this duty that she was born into. This person that she didn't have the same life that Nanachi did, where Nanachi was once human and once had her own desires, and then this duty was placed upon her by what happened with Mitty. With Faputa, she was just born that way. Yeah. She has never had time to figure out what she wanted, mm-hmm. or who she is. So of course that character would want to maybe do that first. And that feels so good.
I agree. Maji Kaja, Mugi, and even you, Ma. Thank you for helping our characters this season.
Yes, thank you.
Same with the teller at the inn. The receptionist.
The receptionist at the inn. The owner of the inn. What is the substitute line? So not only will we have to go back to the papers from Liza, I want to know what's in the packs.
In the what?
In their packs, like in their backpack.
Oh, yeah.
Because the innkeeper, there were some interesting lines there in terms of like, was looking for payment, had to make a substitute, like when they handed over the bags to Rig.
So
and I could have just been mistaking.
Like, so I had a interpretation of it that I don't... Okay, so before we read it, just so I can be completely wrong, I thought that Reg, Rico, and Nanachi had paid a certain amount of money to stay there for, let's say, a week.
Okay.
They've only used 5 days.
Okay.
They're saying, we're leaving early. The innkeeper's saying, okay, but I won't have to refund you for those 2 extra days, right? They're like, I don't know what you're saying, but you're cute. And then the innkeeper's like, I've already found a replacement. Like, as in, they've already had a new client move in to the room. That was my interpretation.
Interesting. But that wouldn't make sense if everything's crumbling down.
Okay,
right?
Thank you for that, innkeeper. That's Mapopon.
Mepopopon.
You've helped us with our belongings. I needn't refund what's left of the room charge, right? So, I've put in a substitute.
I could see you I could see it being that.
Yeah.
I don't know for sure. I can read that line in a few different ways. It's not incredibly clear to me what's being said, and that could just be like a brain
Well, it doesn't matter.
issue on my end.
Because you
they're
sure
dead?
are cute.
Aw,
No, that's
thank
what...
you. Oh.
You went in a very gruesome way with that. All right. That's all I have, you.
One last thing. Really liked the kind of parallel with us leaving Ozen and them kind of all standing around the pit and kind of saying goodbye. And we have that similar with our characters in Ozen's team and their like the people that live there at the Seeker camp saying goodbye. Muralk and Fapita is in the place of Nanachi, Reg, and Rico about to start her own first adventure.
Yeah. I liked the acknowledgement of Prushka. I'm very happy that we haven't forgotten Prushka in any regard.
Prushka, if Prushka had just been dropped and not even honestly, thank goodness that Prushka was so heavily referenced, and we needed Fapita for that. Fapita, because she can hear the person inside, the stone person, we are able to feel more so that Prushka's still there, and it feels better that Rico is now able to call upon Prushka to create this change in Reg, because we know how real Prushka is still there. Prushka's talking.
Yep.
Prushka is there. It's truly adventuring and witnessing this. God, that's so sad, but it feels good.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much for watching Made in Abyss with us. Season 2, Episode 12. Can't wait for more. See you next time. I'm sure we're going to have a lot to talk about in the intro for whatever we watch next for Made in Abyss. But until then, thank you guys so much. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And can't wait to see you next time.